These are Cooler Shock ice packs for your coolers. And I'm going to try and not make this video too long, but I'm kind of excited about these because they work really well. I found these about 10 months ago when I was looking for something to keep our cooler really cold over a couple day journey and not have the mess of dealing with ice that is melting, leaving a bunch of water in the cooler, etc. So I looked these up. I found these on Amazon. Very reasonable retail price. They come in a 3-pack, and they are around $20 for that 3-pack of these. The only caveat being is they're a little bit of a DIY. They're a little bit of a do it yourself to get them set up. They come in a flat packet like this in a small envelope. So not a lot of size to it. It was stuffed right in my mailbox today. It's kind of a thick Mylar type of material. And if we sneak a peek in here, if the floppy envelope will cooperate, they're filled with a white powder that is non-toxic. They don't disclose exactly what it is, but they reiterate it's non-toxic, but they don't suggest consuming it. What you do to prepare these is relatively simple. You fill up 56 ounces of water. There's a half-gallon jar, so we're just a cup shy of having that full. You fill up the packet, and then you squeeze the air out the very best you can, and then you Ziploc it. And once you Ziploc it, all you do is you grab a hot iron, and you close this up permanently with the iron by rubbing it on this outer edge for just a minute. I try and get the creases and such out of there as best as I can, so it's a nice solid edge, but that permanently bonds this material together. Here's a packet that I've prepared about 20 minutes ago, and you let them sit before you put in the freezer. You let them sit for a while after you've made them, and they start getting thicker. And you can see here that this is already getting to be more gel-like. You can see what the edge looks like there. Where I sealed it, it doesn't look perfectly smooth like it went in a heat press, but it's definitely sealed up there. So back over to this one, let me talk about this just a little bit more. These have, one of the big advantages I mentioned already is that you don't have a cooler that's filled with ice, that leaks, that gets all wet. When you have ice in coolers, I constantly am having to bring them home, let the things dry out, then bleach them again to keep mold from growing in there. With these, we often left a cooler sitting in the car in the summer, and there was so little loose water that ever made it, moisture that ever made it into the cooler, that I generally didn't have to take it out in between uses at all. It could just sit in there with the lid cracked open a little bit when we weren't using it. Didn't have any mold problems. Much more convenient. Another thing is these keep the cooler far colder than ice can, especially for the first day and a half range, depending on how good the insulation is in your cooler and how hot it is outside. A couple advantages to this. One is you can take warm drinks and cool them down very quickly. So you can take bottles of water, cans of soda, beer, whatever you're using, put them in there, and that will cool them down quickly to a very drinkable temperature. And you can even freeze them if you're not careful. If these are really cold, you can freeze bottles and cans. Obviously, that dissipates quite a bit of energy, so there's only so many room temperature drinks you can put in before you'll exhaust your ice packs. And if you want it to last longer, you could cool those items in a fridge first before you put them in the cooler. One other neat use that we found for this is sometimes we'll take day trips. We'll go an hour or 2 hours away. We'll visit a dairy there, and we'll go, hey, we really wish you could bring some of this ice cream home. But if you've ever tried to keep ice cream even in a cooler with some ice in it for an hour or two while you travel home, it ends up melting on the outside. It's all crystallized when you freeze it again, and it's just kind of gross. Well, these are actually cold enough that we can throw, I would say, 2 to 3 of these big packets in a cooler, in a full-size 36, 48 quart type cooler. And then we can keep it with us for the day. We buy that ice cream towards the end of the day a lot of times, and we bring it home in the cooler. It sits in the cooler for a few hours with these ice packs, and it is perfectly fine. It generally hasn't melted at all. It's often very firm, especially if we take one of these ice packs and we set it on top of the ice cream so that the cold air is flowing down on top of it. It basically keeps the ice cream just perfect. So I really like these things, and they've totally replaced our use of ice. We don't put any loose ice in the coolers at all, and I just picked up a few more packets here because we're going to be away for a few days, and we're going to actually bring 2 coolers with us this time, and I wanted to make sure I had enough ice packs for both coolers to keep them nice and cold. So if you found this video helpful, I'll have a link here below the video that you can click on to get over to Amazon and order one of these. I have no affiliation with the company. If you use the link that I post on the video here, then I can receive a couple percent commission from Amazon, but it in no way changes the price that you pay from Amazon. And most of all, I hope that if you use a cooler very much in the summer like we do, that you'll enjoy these ice packs because we found them so tremendously helpful and useful.